Hot is presented by Betano. The game starts now. Here are your hosts, Brent Wallace, Jason York, and Bobby Ryan.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Coming in Hot, presented by Betano. I'm Brent Wallace. It's early. That's Jason York, who has the car running, waiting to get to the golf club, and Bobby Ryan, who's out in Idaho, which is a 3-hour time difference. So employee of the day, once again, goes to Bobby.
Yeah, you guys got to keep my walls are getting pretty full, so somebody's gonna have to step up at some point here.
Well, Yorkie probably had to push his tea time. So
yeah, I'm taking the today's a rest and recovery day, boys. I've played so much. The hand. You only get that golf blister, Bob.
Yeah, you can't have that. Yeah,
take the day.
Get the Normatex out, get the body moving, maybe a little cryo, and see you tomorrow.
Well, so Yorkie's day to day. It's good to hear.
Day to day.
Listen, nice to see all of you, but it'll be nicer to see Vladimir Tarasenko perhaps in lineup. But Yorkie, we'll get to you in a sec. Bobby, let's get your thoughts on Thursday. I think it was Friday the 27th. I'm at the Union Oyster House in Boston, enjoying my fish and chips when the news breaks. I want to know your thoughts on seeing a former 40-goal scorer being added to the lineup. It sounds awfully not like we said last year with Alex DeBrincat in a 40-goal scorer.
Right, it's a lot. It's a lot of the same and a much different player, I guess. But at the same, what I like is the term. It's a one-year deal. It's not a guy that you are bringing in to build with. He's a stopgap. You give another player a year to develop. You find out who's going to be in your top 6 going forward. But it's a great signing for a year. I absolutely love the signing for 1 year. There's no risk here. If it's a $5 million, bad contract, it's a throwaway because you can get rid of it at the year, or you can use him as a chip at the deadline. You come in and you establish that he's still a good player, that he's injury free, and then you use him as a chip at the deadline. So there's really no lost, no loss of assets, no depreciation here. I think it's a great move. We said last week we didn't see the fit, and I think Yorkie kind of agreed with me on that. I think where we didn't see the fit was long term. At 1 year, it's a great signing. There's absolutely no way around that. So I don't know if you agree with me on that, Yorkie. But 1 year, you're not hurting anything here. You're not taking away from your core or your top players.
Yeah, the 1 year's for 1 year it's fine. I'm in a wait and see mode. I'm in a wait and see. Like I want to see how the player performs. Because here's where I'm at with Ottawa, and I've said this for, I don't know, since last year. I think this year they're a playoff team. I see no reason why they shouldn't be a playoff team, and the next year is the year they're building towards. I think next year they can make a little bit of a run on the playoffs. I think they're going to be that good. So with Tarasenko, the narrative, he's a goal scorer. He only had 18 last year, though. So former 40-goal scorer that had 18 last year. But I think he's either going to play with, I know he's going to play with one of either Josh Norris or Tim Stutzle. I think the perfect fit for Tarasenko, perfect fit for any winger, right, Bob? You get on a line with Tim Stutzle, and you don't have to do a lot, especially if you're a shooter like Tarasenko. Like, to me, that would be the perfect. I could see him scoring at a much higher clip than he did last year if you get him on a line with Stutzle and you put back that line with Batherson, with Tkachuk and Norris, and then you go Giroux, Tarasenko, and Stutzle. Like, in a perfect world, that to me is 2 really good lines. And then, like I said, like you've said this all along, Bob, Stutzle is a breakout and entry machine. He's that good. He's that good. So I could see Tarasenko coming in and playing with him and performing really well. The way I can see it not working is if he starts the year with Norris. And it's no slight against Josh Norris. I just think for Norris, after missing the year, coming back, and it's going to take a little while for him to get the timing back and all that, because exhibition is so short now that's where I see a slow start. So on with Stutzle. I think he has a great start, and I think it's a pretty good signing. But I'm a little concerned about the depth guys because there's not a lot of money left. You still got to sign Pinto. And in this league, you win with depth with your third line. So who's coming? Who's leaving? That's what I want to know. What are they going to? Because they still have to sign Pinto, and you have to be you can't just rely on your top six all the time. So yeah, I like it, but I'm a little concerned. I'm in a wait and see mode because I want to see what happens. I want to see who leaves, and I want to see how they shore up the depth, because to me, that's something that was really lacking last year, the depth. I know injuries played a huge role, but I want to see what the next ball to drop is with who leaves.
Okay, so we'll come back to Tarasenko then. You brought up Shane Pinto. We're just going to jump around here a bit. I don't think people are like, well, there's no money left for Shane Pinto. I understand what it looks like now, but there's no way they went into signing Tarasenko and didn't think of signing Shane Pinto. What I think is going to happen, and you guys will understand, he's an RFA, which means he's not going to likely get signed right now because there's no pressure point.
Yeah.
We're going to see start of camp, start of season.
Who's centering your third line? There's the pressure point.
It's going to be Shane Pinto, but the pressure is going to be on the organization, right? You're not going to have Shane Pinto sitting at home, just like Brady Tkachuk was. And then he missed a couple games at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to get to that because they're going to try and get Shane Pinto low. And if I'm Shane Pinto, what do I want? $5 million, which isn't likely to happen, but you're going to ask for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm also a little concerned just back, to me, the identity of the Ottawa Senators is I look at Brady Tkachuk. They're a team that's really hard to play against. You talk about the last couple of years, even though they're losing a few games, winning a few games, the narrative was they're a really hard team to play against. They get on the forecheck, they finish hits. I'm a little concerned with line after line. Like the way you play that way is you have the players in your lineup. So now to me, they're a different team. You've got Kubalik, who's a shooter. You got Tarasenko, who's a shooter. You got Giroux, who's a change of pace player. So I'm like I said, I'm in a wait and see mode because I really want to see what the identity of this team is when the puck drops in October.
Yeah, I think that's shifted a little bit for sure. When you bring in, and I don't want to say this, when you bring in, you bring in some Europeans, and that's not. I'm not slating them at all, but
hey, come on, Don.
Yeah, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not. Because Tarasenko's actually got a little bit of edge and bite to him at times too. So, but DJ's going to have his thumb on it, and he'll make sure that they're still that team. I'm almost excited to see when the first time they absolutely light Tarasenko up in the locker room. He goes, "What the fuck is going on right now?" I can't wait to see that. But at the same time, the team's changed a little bit. I think as long as DJ keeps a good job and his thumb on the identity side of things, he can push those guys, and that's what you need to do at this point. Everybody that you add has to be able to come into the fold and be part of the identity. And you took a chance on 2 players this year. No, there's nothing wrong with that. They just have to be aware that they're coming into that. It's like at the same time, Kubalik thinks he's a top 6 guy, right? Now you got him in the top 9, which he's losing ice time right now. So is he going to be happy?
Hey,
there's so many working parts here.
Hey, how about Kubalik? When he first got traded, he's looking at the depth chart. He's like, I'm going to play with either Norris or Stutzle. I'm going to get 30. I'm going to sign a 5-year deal after this year. And all of a sudden, they just signed Tarasenko.
Exactly. Yeah. And right now he's Googling his line mates and he's like, and this Pinto guy's not even going to show up.
He was so excited to come because goal scorers, hey, Bob, you're a power play guy. I don't care who you are. You need a pretty long stick if you're not on the power play to get 20 to 30 goals. It's tough.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
And Pinto got 20 last year, but he was on the second unit. He was in that bumper spot, and you can't score 25 goals unless you're on the power play. So Kubalik's got to be looking
And like now
Go?
where do you put him? What power play do you put him on now? Because you just bumped him out of that with Tarasenko too. So like,
Yeah.
this guy's just biting the fingernails down right now.
Well, okay. So just you mentioned the power play too. The way it's set up, Tkachuk is your net front. Stutzle's on your one side. You're going to have Norris on the one-timer, and you're going to have Batherson in the middle as the bumper because Brady's a left shot, so you have to have a right shot in the slot. So
Right.
Tarasenko automatically, he either takes Norris out or he's on the second unit. There's no other spot for him. Because
he's on the second unit. Yeah.
So like,
All right,
he ain't getting 40.
But we don't know. I mean, I just want to. We don't know who's going to end up scoring and who's going to be hot by the end of the year or who's going to be hurt. So the power play units could be vastly different. But the problem is, in a good way, you have all these options to choose from. We're debating who's going to be on the second power play and first power play units.
Yeah,
think of that 3 years ago.
Did it sound familiar last year at camp?
We cannot bring up Alex DeBrincat's name. We're contractually obligated to not bring it up.
That's it. Well, Yorkie got a cease and desist.
I just gotta tell you, when there's doubt, when there's everybody says the right things. Yeah, it's a good problem to have. Got so many guys that could play the power play. Until it's time to put the first unit on, you say, "Oh, hold on a second here. I'm not on the first unit. What the hell is going on here?" Especially when guys are on 1 year deals. When guys are on 1 year deals and they're accustomed to being first power play guys, it's like, whoa.
So, all right, I have a question kind of leading into that. Ottawa hasn't had a 40 goal scorer since 2007, 2008, when Heatley and Alfredson both had 40 goals. Heatley had 41. And by the way, Vladimir Tarasenko has 140 goal season 2015-16. Do you see the Ottawa Senators this year having a 40 goal scorer on their roster?
Who's first here?
Yorkie.
Oh, I'm first. Brady Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk. Because if there's one thing I know, he starts every single power play. He's on the ice in all important situations, end of a game. There is no doubt that he is always your net front presence, and he's going to get a ton of goals from that 5-foot radius. And he's really improved his overall game and playmaking ability. So I think if there's one guy, I think Brady's going to get 40.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I actually thought about this for a bit, and the short answer for me is no. Nobody's going to score 40. Because there's too many guys that are going to get 20 to 25, and I think that's a better problem to have. I think that you're going to have a lot of moving parts on the power plays at times unless the number one unit gets established and rocks at 25% right out of the gate. I think that your top six are all going to be taking a few minutes less to be a good top six and work in your top nine. I think Josh Norris would have been my pick a year ago, but Tarasenko changes that. The injury changes that. I still think he's the best shooter on the team. I think he's a guy that's got the best one-timer, the best in tight shot, and he's not afraid to go to the net and get into those areas. So he would have been my pick. Tarasenko, I don't think is going to get enough ice time. Stutzle, I think, is going to become more of a disher as he gets a little older, and playmaker that's going to score 30 and 50 and 60 assists every year. So, no, I don't think anybody scores 40, but I would like to see 6 or 7 guys score north of 20, and I think that is a possibility, and that's hard. That's a better possibility long-term for the team.
Interesting, because Tim Stutzle had 39 goals last season.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting comment. Bobby, I understand your point. Here's my question: since you called Stutzle more of a disher, perhaps going on in his career, is then Tarasenko a better fit for Tim Stutzle than perhaps Josh Norris?
Well, it's tough. I've never seen Josh play with them. Well, I mean, I haven't seen Josh play with them long term, and I don't know if those. Sometimes you get a very, very elite player like Stutzle and a really good shooter that Josh, and they just don't mesh. That's happened before, right? That happens all the time. So I'd like to see those two develop chemistry and see if they could be a really good part of the core future together. But I don't know. And right now, I think what Yorkie said is that Norris and Tarasenko have to start away from each other You've got a guy that's missed a year of hockey and another guy that wants to come in and play on a 1-year deal. And if they don't get off to a hot start together, now you're swimming trying to find pieces for those guys to fit. Start them away from each other. Let them both get comfortable. One's in a new setting. One's missed a year, and develop that. So I think you're going to see Stutzle with Tarasenko pretty early on, and I think by default, I think Timmy could score 40 every year. I don't think that's an issue at all. I just think he distributes the puck well, and he's not going to play 23 minutes a night this year.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to play 19.
And so,
Yeah.
and that's the argument right now. People in the chat are saying that Tim Stutzle is going to have 40 guaranteed, and he's going to have 100 points. I don't doubt he's capable of doing it. The issue is the puck is going to move around to other people's sticks at this point.
Well,
yes.
Last year, everybody was hurt. So by default, and by being by far the most talented center iceman, Stutzle was averaging over 21 minutes a night last year. Josh Norris is here. So that's number one, as Bob mentioned, that's going to cut into it. It's not saying he can't do it, but he was thrust into a position where they had to play him that much, and now they don't have to. So, and it's going to be much better that way. Like because when you play that much, you have no choice but to rest when you're in the D zone, because you're and that's what happens to the Senators. Why I saw a lot of those breakdowns. Guys were playing too much. You rest in the D zone, you get scored on. So now you bump them back to whatever it is, 18, 19 minutes. Those are going to be more of a 200-foot player. And Stutzle's killing penalties now too. So that's taxing as well. So you can't, it's real. Here's the thing. Why do McDavid and Draisaitl score so much? Number one, they're the most talented guys in the league. But number two, they play 1 minute and 55 seconds of every single power play. They play the last 2 minutes of every game, and they're on the ice more than anyone else in the league. So that's how you do it. Like, back in the days when Detroit was winning cups, Datsuk was averaging, I don't know, they had no forward over 20 minutes. Datsuk, Zetterberg, all those guys. The way you get points is the Edmonton way. The way you win is the Detroit way. So if Ottawa starts taking that Detroit analogy, even how Vegas did it last year, it's you get your cookies, you don't win. You play like a team, you win. So now Ottawa's just got to figure out a way to get some depth in those third and fourth line, and like I said, I'm in a wait and see mode.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I'll just finish on this. You don't want Timmy scoring 40 and having 60. That'd be a great place to be. You want him playing 18 to 20 minutes a night at the top end with 30 and 50 or whatever it might be. You want him being a point of game guy saying, "Hey, I feel pretty good in April," as opposed to I'm worn down and I've played 21 minutes and I'm minus 19. Like, you want everybody walking into the middle of April saying that we have gas in the tank.
Like watching Edmonton last year in the playoffs, it was just a matter of time before Draisaitl and McDavid ran out of gas. You can't do it. You can't do it.
It's not sustainable. No, can't.
No matter how good you are, and that's what happened to them. Hey, they had a great run, and they almost still did it. But man, you got to be. And if any two guys can do it, it's them. But you're not. It's very, very tough to win in the league with that system.
Yeah.
I just back to Tarasenko for a sec, if you'll indulge me. 2 of the last 4 seasons, and one of them, by the way, was an injury season. 2 of the last 4, he's had his best point per game seasons. 2019-20, he averaged a point per game, and then 2021-22, 109. So while we think of him as perhaps 34, is he still just as good as he has been at that? I know he's not a 40 goal scorer at the particular point in time, but should we perhaps giving him more credit than we do?
I mean, yeah, the stats are undeniable. He's had a hell of a career, right? He's put up points almost every time he's been healthy. And he's dangerous every time he touches the puck. He's especially dangerous on the entry, cutting across the middle. That's one of his, that's what he does. He's very well. He buys time to walk to the middle and get that shot off. I mean, I just don't know. It's at the age that you're getting to now with him, and some of the health concerns. I always side with the player, and I'm very, very cautiously optimistic that he's going to have a really good year here, playing with one of those two centers. So, yeah, I think you have to give him a little more credit than we have been, but at the same time, you show me first. Like show me first, and then I'll sing your praises. And I love the signing at 1 year.
Yep.
1 year, $5 million. You trade him at the deadline, you get something for him, or you bring him back for another if he's healthy and feeling good.
Okay, you guys are former players. He clearly saw the market soften if he's signing for 1 at 5. Does that make him motivated to come here and put up big numbers, Yorkie?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guys love money. Doesn't matter how much you made, you want to make more. And like, listen, to be honest, when DeBrincat came here, we don't have the luxury of watching Chicago a lot. So I wanted to see him play. After 10 games, we'll know what Tarasenko is. I'm really excited to watch him play because I don't care. You can look at stats, you can look at underlying numbers. Until you really watch a player for 10 games in a row, you really don't have a great grasp of what the player is, especially right now in his career. So, like, I think it's a little unfair to really say, for at least as far as I'm concerned, because I haven't watched Tarasenko for 10 straight games. So I'm excited to see that, to see how he plays, see how relentless he is on pucks, because I know one thing, DJ loves high energy players. He loves guys that get after it. He loves guys that play the right way, that track on the back check, that are in on the forecheck, and that have skill. So I want to see him play 10 games, and I'll have a much better idea of what he can do. But if you look at the history, you can't argue. He's had a great career. He's won a cup. Last year, though, he only scored 18, so that's concerning for me. He's getting older, but he's going to come in and play with a great centerman for sure, of either Norris or Stutzle. I'm hoping it's Stutzle because I think that's best case scenario. So I want to see the player. I want to see him. And to be fair, I don't think anybody can really say what he's going to do until you've seen him at camp and you watch him play. And then that's why I keep saying, for me, it's a wait and see scenario.
Just briefly, yes, Vladimir Tarasenko has a full no move clause. We're aware. That just allows him the choice.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So that just gives him full control of where he gets to be traded to.
Hey, something Bob just pointed on too, and with Tarasenko, I noticed that too in the times I watched him. He likes to come over the blue line on his offside and cut to the middle, right? So if he's playing with Stutzle and Giroux, he's going to be on his left side, right? So he'll be coming down on his strong side more often than not for that pull. So it'll be interesting to see where they decide to play him.
Because I mean, he's one of the best I've seen at that. He comes over, he buys that 5 feet of space, and then he takes that wrist shot off his back foot. I mean, if you ever noticed, I don't know if I've seen a better shooter in that regard, where he's coming cross screen, cross body off the back foot. And somebody told me a story about him a long time ago, and I can't remember who told me the story, but as a shooter, we do drills after practice a lot of times, and you're trying to hit marks on the net, right? And a lot of times you envision a goalie sliding into the butterfly. Like, I loved my favorite shot was low glove, as opposed to it was the shot that I preferred, but it's not as sexy. It doesn't matter what it is. They told me he does drills where he's not aiming for a corner. He's aiming for a portion of the post at all times, which I thought was interesting because I never had thought about it. He said he wanted to get, somebody had mentioned, he said he wanted to get as far away from the goalie but inside the post as he could on every single shot. And they said when he was at his best on good days, it was like clockwork. Every single shot just rang off the inside of the post and in the net. So I found that like an interesting tidbit, and I went to try the different drills a few times after the fact, and I wasn't even close. I was like, it's just a shot you don't imagine. Like, I never thought that, you know what I mean? I never thought posting in, because to me, you were flirting with the outside of the net too much. And that's the number one thing, is you don't want to break the other team out by missing the net unless you got a freebie. But But this guy does. I will say this: he doesn't care. He's shooting it. Like, he doesn't care. He's like, break it out. We'll go the other way. We'll back check together.
That's an art, though, eh? Like, hey, Bob. So
Yeah.
many. I always, because coaching younger kids and even junior age kids, they all want to either go around the D, put it through his legs. They never try and shoot it through the D. And you watch guys like Ovechkin's great at it on the rush. Like, he'll come down on an offside, little step to the middle, and the D is a screen. And if you get it on net, there's a good chance you're going to get a nice juicy rebound pop out for the middle lane drive. So yeah, I've known, like, that's an art form with some guys, right? You either, because to get it through that D, if you can do it, it's a much more dangerous shot than guys realize.
Absolutely.
All right, we're moving on. I want to bring up perhaps some odds and how they've changed in the last little week over what's gone on in the NHL. So before we do that, as always, we'll take a pause and get to our always entertaining yet very informative ad reads. Yorkie, would you like me to start, or do you want to do Botano?
Oh, you can start. You're good at Botano.
All righty, here we go. As always, our show proudly presented by Pitlick. Visit pitlick.ca or download the award-winning state-of-the-art app, the most user-friendly, fastest, and advanced betting app for your mobile or tablet. Have the amazing world of sports always with you at Pitlick. Hundreds of betting options for events and try same-game parlays and bet builder. With Pitlick, the game starts now. But just a reminder, check out now all the futures on their website and see where the odds are out there. Everything's there, from who's going to win the Atlantic to what the chances of Ottawa making the playoffs are to all kinds of stuff. It's fun to watch and take a check on. We'll get to some of those in just a sec.
All right. And Renfrew Pro, the original hockey tape. As we always say, it's very easy to tear apart with your hands. Moisture resistant, helps with puck control. It is the ones that the pros use. Available at all major retailers, on the web at renfrewpro.com. It's the one with the green core. Instagram followers, you can give them a follow at Renfrew Pro. Don't forget to tag your teammates for unlimited entries and share your story for 10 bonus entries. And don't forget about Free Tape Friday.
And last but not least, Bonisher Excavating. Our show is brought to you by, Bonisher Excavating. The difference that a Bonisher home makes, a variety of floor plans for every need, options starting to, and prices starting as low as $500,000. You can visit them at bonisherhomes.com for a list of the floor plans. I don't know. I thought there was another slide here. But, it's 6:30 BEI. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I apologize. I didn't do you guys justice this morning, but there was last week we had a slide that was much bigger than that, and there was a lot of information. I should have gone back to that. But there's a new city about an hour from Ottawa or something like that they got a bunch of houses going up there. Go there.
It's really good, but just go to bonisherhomes.com and check
bonisherhomes.com. There you go.
There we go. Okay, so
there we go.
So the odds have changed. I was originally had a board last week about the odds, the Stanley Cup odds, and who's where and what. And then all of a sudden, Vladimir Tarasenko signs, Patrice Bergeron retires. There is some movement. So here now is a look at the 32 teams and where they are with the odds of being a Stanley Cup champion. So Colorado's first, Vegas and Toronto all tied at plus 1,000. Ottawa moved, by the way, up. They were 17th. They're now into 15th tied. They're alone at plus 3,400. So if you have $10 and you bet on it, you win $340. So do you make that bet? I might be inclined just to throw down $100. If you throw $100 down and win 3,400, it's a good day.
Hold on. So this is for Ottawa to make the playoffs? $10?
No, Stanley Cup winner.
Oh, I'm like, yeah. I'm making that bet.
It says so right on the board. Stanley Cup odds.
I got to put my glasses on.
So, and by the way, the Philadelphia Flyers dropped all the way to last. It was at one point. It was Arizona, I think, or San Jose. It was one of those. Anyway, so they've now dropped to the bottom. Interesting just to see the look of those. Does anything change for either one of you? Who might be, as of right now, your Stanley Cup winner? Bob?
who's my pick to win, or who do I
Yeah.
like on this that I would bet on?
Well, you give me both.
Okay. If I was taking a bet, I'd be laying money on Dallas just for that right now. I think they're a deep team that added Duchesne. I would be looking at them if I was trying to make a couple bucks.
Plus
But who do I-
1,500 for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, I mean, Edmonton and New Jersey are intriguing on the betting side. But when it gets down to it, I think it comes down to Colorado and Vegas, whoever comes out of that West right now for me. Toronto, I just don't. I mean, the goaltending always bothers me deep into it. And then you never know if they're going to show up. And I'm just ruffling feathers right now. That's the last thing don't blow me up on Twitter. I don't check it. Or do. I don't know. You can drag me. It's not a real place. But if I'm doing it, I like Colorado. Everybody's going to be healthy. I like Colorado.
Ooh, yeah. I like
But
Colorado too.
hey, I want to make sure and be very clear that we're going to go through and do our picks preseason and all that.
That's correct.
This is not that.
No, this is just with all the moves and stuff that's happened this offseason.
Yeah.
What do you think of it right now?
Yeah.
I like Colorado. I think they're there for a reason. I like LA too. I like LA too. If I'm betting, yeah,
LA, nice. I like I like the Carolina Hurricanes. I think that is a great value pick. I can't the picture of Rod Brindamore after they lost that series. He's like he was speechless. Yeah. They should have won probably every single game. They carried the play. I just thought they played so well last year in the playoffs. I look at their decor. They have the best decor in hockey right now. Goaltending's pretty good. Svechnikov is going to be back and healthy this year. He's their game breaker. So if all things considered, they stay healthy, I would take a little stab at the Carolina Hurricanes, and Rod the Bod will have these guys going this year. Man, how about that? Do you remember that, Wally? Do you remember that press conference? He was just sitting there and he was just talking gibberish. He had no idea what to say. He was like, he's like, we should have won. We should have won.
Yep.
Just no clue.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Hey, how good? Hey, how good are his speeches in the dressing room too? I know they had the camera in there a few times. Like I'm like, man, I want to play for this guy. Like he just seems
he gets
like
the boys going. Yeah,
seems like such a great dude. Like such a good guy.
Yeah.
Who's the best motivator coach either one of you have played for? Just straight motivator.
Ooh. Easy answer for me.
Okay.
Who?
Barry Melrose.
Really?
I had Barry in the minors, and this guy, different era, obviously, like nails. Like we won the Calder Cup that year. If some guy like fell out of line on the team, like he might try and fight the guy in the locker room if he wasn't playing the right. Well, he almost did once, and he had the respect out everybody. We practiced hard. We actually, I guess, partied hard too off the ice. Like it was old school hockey at its best, and we had some tough guys on that team too. We had Denny Viel. We had Jim Cummins. Like this was back when the A was just a complete jungle. And I'll tell you guys a quick funny story. We went into play in one building and it turned into a gong show. The cops actually came, like Slapshot. The cop came to our dressing room door and they wanted to arrest one of our players, Max Mittendorf. He took his stick and he basically cracked it off a guy's head and a brawl broke out. And the cop, it was like knocking at the door. We want Mittendorf.
Yeah,
like I swear to God, it was crazy. But Barry Melrose,
so good.
Yeah, great motivator and awesome guy.
All right,
Bob. I guess it would have been Guy, but I didn't play Guy or DJ to a degree but I didn't have DJ for very long. But I had Randy Carlisle and Bruce Boudreau, who I wouldn't say were motivators. They were very, very good coaches in their own right. But I had a ton of good coaches, but not a ton of energy coaches. And Guy at times would show that and do very well with that. And the same with DJ, but DJ is motivated because he's animated. And that his energy was motivating at times. So, but I didn't have any real strict motivator coaches. It was the league's changed. You don't have as much of that anymore.
Yeah.
I would like to have seen or Brian Murray may have been the guy I would think would be in the room, would be a great motivator.
Yeah. Brian was
I
had Brian in Anaheim for a year. It was his first year back coaching. He had that big layoff from his time with Florida, and he resurfaced in Anaheim. He was so funny. Like he had that dry wit. But hey, another guy I had that was a great, like he wasn't, how do I put this? He was a great guy, Barry Trotz. So the motivating factor was if you started losing, like the boys would get together and have a meeting and say, "Hey boys, let's get it together here. If we don't start winning, Trotzy's going to get canned." So that was the motivator, and we're going to get like Keenan in here. So we'd start.
Right.
It was like
that's a great motivator.
Well, when you got a coach that's such a great guy, you don't want to let him down. Like you play for your teammates, but you're also playing for your coach because he treats you so well. Treats you like Because back then, coaches were like, it cracked the whip, and it was always coaching through fear. Where Trotzy was like, good guy, good person, good coach. So you didn't want to let him down.
All right, moving on. I had Barry Trotz as a head coach for the World Championships one year. Fantastic guy. We just talked for 2 hours at the airport while we waited for a flight. Before we move on, the Atlantic Division winner. This is interesting to me because in the Stanley Cup odds, Ottawa is head of the Buffalo Sabres, but to win the division, Buffalo is ahead of Ottawa. I can't explain it. Doesn't matter. Put your money on the Ottawa Senators at plus 1,000, if you ask me. Does this change? Do you guys like the blue team at the top?
Yeah, and I don't think it's particularly close. They're the best team. They're the best regular season team. They go on great runs during the regular season that the other teams haven't consistently does. Tampa Bay, I don't know if they're done. I don't want to say that. Boston, I think, has changed a lot this year. So Toronto for me is the easy pick here.
Me too.
I don't like it, but yeah.
Yeah. Regular season hockey is tailor-made for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lots of high-scoring games, special teams, like power plays win you games in the regular season. You get your cookies, and then you finish first, and then there's a ton of pressure once the playoffs start. That is the Toronto Maple Leafs in a nutshell.
It's interesting. It's interesting to me that Boston's. I think they should have fallen further, but maybe I'm wrong. I still think Ottawa. I think Ottawa is now more of a playoff team than perhaps Tampa.
Do you?
See, I could see Toronto, Buffalo, Ottawa in the postseason.
Wow, I don't
Toronto,
see
Buffalo, Ottawa. I don't think you take all three of those teams above them out. One of those three teams, at the very least, is finishing in the top. Florida's getting too much credit for the run that they had here. For me, I think they should be lower. But to me, your top three are the same three as every year: Toronto, Tampa, and Boston. And then you see who's below that. I think Boston's going to have a very, very welcome back to earth year. But when you have Pasternak and Bergeron still playing together with a second line following up what they do right now,
you don't mean Bergeron.
Marchand.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say? Pasternak and Marchand.
Yeah. Just didn't want people to lose their mind.
Yeah. Sorry. I think I think Ottawa's the fourth best team in this division right now. I don't know who they're replacing out of the 2, 3, and 4 slot, but I think they're moving guys down. I don't know why Buffalo has gotten the +9. I don't get that. So I think Ottawa's a wild card team this year. I think they're a team that's going to have to be a wild card. If they're in the top 3, I have no issue with that. I think they're okay in that top 3 too. You can make the argument above them on any team above them.
The league is so tight. There's so much parity. Like we forget, Florida just squeaked into the playoffs last year and went on that incredible run. They're not, to me, they're not really a team that's built to be a team that's going to be a lock to make the playoffs. Right. They're because we saw playoff hockey is totally different. Like if they play the way they did in the playoffs in regular season, they're going to be in the penalty box all game because the refs are calling all the chintzy stuff all season long. So the way Sam Bennett played in the playoffs was unbelievable. But during the regular season, those are probably a lot of those hits are probably penalties. So it's going to be. Yeah. I could see Florida taking a step back. Not that I don't think they're good. It's just that run they went on took so much out of that team.
Well,
that's a lot.
If you go back and check, and I remember doing this when Ottawa was lost in the cup final. So that's been a while, obviously, but it's happened. The team that loses in the cup final tends to miss the playoffs the next season.
Really?
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's tough to get over the devastating loss or whatever, but it's one of those weird anomalies. And I haven't looked the last couple of years, and maybe they've all made it, but it used to be a trend. The team that lost in the cup final didn't make the playoffs the next year.
I don't blame them.
Screw this.
Yeah, I mean, you get there and you're celebrating for a month, or you're just like depression mode for a month, and then you're like, well, I got to ramp it back up again. So
I don't. Hey, Bob, I don't love Buffalo. Like, I love their talent, but they play pond hockey. Like, there are so many.
Win. Yeah.
You watch the Buffalo Sabres play hockey. They just try and outscore you. There's so many turnovers. There's so many badly placed pucks. Like, they play low percentage hockey. So I think they need to tighten things up. Otherwise, I don't see them making the playoffs the way they play. Like,
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Not gonna win that way.
Yeah,
we shall. I
agree.
Okay, fair enough. So does general consensus at the moment is the Ottawa Senators are in the playoffs or not?
100%. They just they're right at the cap. Like, if you spend to the cap, you're over right now. You can't miss the playoffs. Like, so the excuses are over. It's time to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Exactly. Said it perfectly. It's time.
Okay.
I think they're in right now. Yeah.
Okay. We're on Team Ottawa that they were going to make the playoffs because you guys said, well, Jason's the owner. So
that's right.
Yeah.
You want to impress the owner.
Playoff team. Playoffs are bust.
I agree.
All right.
And Wally, all the players will say the same thing. If you went over to Brady Tkachuk's house right now, you say, Brady, are you making the playoffs? 100%. Like, all those guys believe it. They almost got in with a fourth string goalie after Decor hurt and Josh Norris, who was the number one center of the lineup. And
right.
They were pretty close.
Okay. I don't argue with you. It always comes down to goaltending for me.
And I forgot. And they just signed Korpisalo and Forsberg's healthy. So there you go.
Korpisalo's a show me guy. I need to see him perform first.
Well, he has to perform. He's got a long-term contract. They paid for him. He has to perform.
Okay.
No choice.
What do you got, Yorkie?
No, I got nothing. Oh. I just told you.
Yorkie got quiet. He's got a tea time.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm going to the. I'm going to take. I've got an appointment later for the. The cold chamber. But you ever went in one of those, Bob? You go in. It's
cryo?
like I'm doing cryo this afternoon. Minus 140.
Big cryo fan.
So good.
Right over there by the rink.
No, they've got actually a new place. It's in between Westboro and Hittenburg. It's at the this place called of all places. It's not a little spa. You'd never know they had one. It's because I think there's only 2 or 3 of them in the city. There's one right on the Luxie Spa. Heading over there later.
Oh yeah, I like it. Yeah, I used to go with Magnus PRV every game day. Right after pregame skate, we'd go in, run in there. We were each in there for 4 minutes and then out the door.
Oh. Hey, what happened to him? What he was so good when he was younger. I remember watching him in Edmonton. He was a talented guy.
I don't know. Well, he's a good player. He's still talented. He just didn't find. Well, he found the role. He played a good third line for us, but once you play third line for Ottawa back then, you were out of the league. I was like, but then I thought he was a good player. I love the guy. I thought he was a great guy. So
he's a sweet.
I know he was playing in Sweden.
Pierre's a sweet.
Yeah, good dude. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played with a bad Swede. They're such good dudes.
Yeah, I've played with a few, but they're few and far between. Yeah. I played with a lot of Swedes all the way through though. Ottawa. I actually played with a lot of Swedes everywhere but Detroit.
Really? Yeah.
When they were all gone because they won all the cups and then they left. All right. I heard what's going on? What's the next? We're just rambling. What do we got going on?
Oh, we got a special guest coming in now. I forgot about this. Wally doesn't know about this. We're bringing in Mrs. Wallace to share some dirt. Lisa Wallace, welcome to the show. This is an unexpected pleasure that you're here, and you're going to spill all the dirt on Mr. Wallace. Tell us all about his little like. I hear he's a guy that's very set in his ways. I've heard.
Let's see. So, have you ever traveled? Had the pleasure of traveling with Brent yet?
No, he is the anal retentive, over prepared man. That's who he is.
Security.
If you're looking for a vacation that is planned down pretty much to the minute, Brent is your man. Like we just went to Boston this weekend, and it's like, okay, what time are we leaving at? And I was like, 7, so 6:50, and I'm like, okay, well, we have to stop, to get coffee at 6:45, and literally the night before, it's like 18 hours and counting. 12 hours and counting. You get up in the morning. Okay, everybody, let's go. We got in the car. It was 6:47. We're 2 minutes late. Why? We're already losing time, kind of thing.
So basically, in my house, like my wife wants to be to the airport like 3 hours for the plane or we're late. So Wally is basically the one that if you're not 2 hours or you're late,
yes,
he's that.
Absolutely. And then it was, Ryan had hockey and Brooke and I were just going to do our thing. So he was like, well, what do you got planned? I'm like, we're just going to, go downtown, walk around. Well, no, what are you going to see? I was like, I don't know. We're just going to walk around. We'll see what we feel like doing. And you could see the hives almost breaking out because it was like, I didn't have a schedule of what I was going to see. But you're going to miss out on stuff with that kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to relax. It's my relaxing vacation.
That's right. But and hi, good to see you. And welcome to the show from the kitchen that's hiding from Wally. But I was wondering if there was a vacation nerd report like Yorkie and I get the night before, and he's like, "Hey, we have an 8-hour drive. No liquids after 11, and you're not allowed to stop to the bathroom until over the border at Dunkin' Donuts."
Yes, pretty much. He literally has everything planned out of, we can stop here. There's like a Panera, there's Chick-fil-A, there's this, or if we go about, 10 miles further, then we could do this, and this. I've checked near the hotel. There's a Target that I know Brooke's going to want to go to. And, you have to decide exactly. So if you get a lot out of your vacation when you travel with Brent. If you are looking to get the most out of your vacation, Brent is your guy. He could work for CAA and prepare your triptych kind of thing for you. We go to an all-inclusive. It's like, you're sitting by the pool, have a drink, an hour and a half. Okay, what are we doing now? I'm like, I'm reading my book. Leave me alone.
We're good. Yeah. I was gonna say, do you even get to relax with them? Is there any relaxing?
I just force it. And thankfully Ryan, not that Ryan is as crazy as Brent, but Ryan doesn't do well just lying by a pool and sitting down. So the two of them are good that they'll go, play tennis or work out or whatever. And Brooke and I are quite content to sit by the pool and read, have a drink. And so I just need, I need kind of somebody to travel with us to be Brent's entertainment.
Can I defend myself?
No, you can't. Be quiet. I picture I picture Wally.
Sound like a golden retriever, Wally.
Lisa, paint the picture for us. Paint the picture for us of Brent Wallace and the Wallace home, because the picture I have is slippers perfectly placed at the end of his bed. He's got a full pajama. He puts on maybe a night hat, lantern to get up in the middle of the night. Like, you think I'm far off there?
You're a little far off, but but he's that guy sometimes where the rest of us were just over, and then I'll be like, "Where's Dad?" And they're like, "Oh, I think he went upstairs." And he likes to just prepare for the show. You guys know, you get your emails and everything, very detailed. So he has his quiet time and just relaxes stuff, or takes the dog out, and then it's kind of like, okay, dog has been walked, lock the door, let's go, it's time for bed.
That's amazing.
Time for bed.
My picture is a little bit different. I picture him getting in the bed, laying on his back, looking up and saying, "Who got the smudge on the who got the smudge on the ceiling?" with a toothbrush. And, yeah.
Hands down. Sometimes he'll come in the kitchen and he'll be like, "Oh my God, what the hell did you do in here?" Like, and then to clean everything, and it's like, yeah, I made supper. It got dirty. It happens, right? Kind of thing.
This isn't totally true. I'm pretty chill.
Really?
Pretty chill.
Okay, defend yourself here, Wally. What do you have to say for all this?
Define pretty chill.
Listen, I wash all the dishes. I do my chores. I clean the floors. I'm just a neat guy. So I'm more gonna. You know what? I'd be great in the military.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm very good at being detail oriented. That's all. I just want people. Listen, if you're gonna go on vacation and you don't have a schedule, you're not going to know what's going on. You're not going to know. Maybe there's a festival. Maybe I could go to the beach over here. Maybe if I go from here to here, it's a shorter distance. And if I go from here over to there, I'm just trying to maximize your time on vacation.
Oh, I don't argue that. But it's that sometimes
and you only stop once, by the way, for a pee break.
Yeah.
I don't care how long the trip is.
I could see Wally making sure the SPF 50 is packed for everybody, right? Everyone's.
Yeah.
No, he's good. Like, he's good at checking the car. Like, the car is always spotless before we leave. So then I hear how dirty my car is all the time because, he's got to clean it, but it's everything is organized, and the trunk is packed like perfectly, right? It's kind of, you're playing Jenga with getting everything out. So
I love that was your go-to, Wally. I do all my chores, I do this and that, and I'm like, I guess, Lisa, you can look at it this way. Lindsay has to put me on a star chart. So I'm on a star chart. You got a guy that goes out and does it. I'm like, I walk by the fridge and I'm like, can I do this, that? You should see the length of the list that says Bobby's to-do on my notes on my thing, and none of it gets done. I sold this house. I'm moving out today, and I have to cancel a bunch of bills. I'm like, I'm paying bills for another 6 months. I'm paying the electric at this house for 6 months, whether I know it or not.
You just need to get Brent down there, Bobby. Everything will be taken care of for you in like a week. So
I should have locked it in.
Well, you'd be a great butler, eh? You'd be a great butler.
I could see that.
I'm not sure, but then he'd be like telling them, the house, the furniture is not placed properly. Like, I think then he'd just be arguing with them a little bit. So.
My masters are. You're not properly enjoying yourself.
You're not making the most of this barbecue. You need to socialize more.
So here's another one for you. This is how you can tell a lot. What is Wally like watching a minor hockey game, watching his son play hockey? How's that one go over?
You know what? He's he won't sit in the stands with parents. Like, I get that ended.
He has.
I can't even and I don't blame him, because there are times even for me, I'm like, oh my God, these people are idiots, and I can't. So I sit with the few moms who I know don't scream and yell like fools, but what he started taking pictures of the team so that he didn't have to deal with people. So that way it keeps them away and he can just go to the corners and stuff. Or he just stands there with one other dad who he knows is very much same personality. And they just they have their little looks to each other kind of thing, but not a yeller, not a screamer. Like, you don't really know that he's there per se. So it's good in that sense.
You are lone wolf dad. Like, there's many different hockey players. Yes. You're the guy up in the corner. You're lone wolf dad, because there's angry end board dad, the guy that's by the glass.
I'm a glass guy.
And then there's yelling mom, who's up in the stands, who's yelling all the time. But there's lone wolf Wally. Okay, I gotcha. I see it. I can see that.
I can't
analyzing
parents yelling at their kids or other people's kids, like, why aren't you passing the puck, or get it in deep, or like I don't want to hear. Just watch.
You save it for the car ride home, right? Wally's waiting for that car ride home.
I only make Ryan walk the first 200 feet, and then I let him in.
That's good.
You just let it build all game, all the frustration, and you can't wait for that car ride home.
That's right. Ryan now showers, takes his time, has a snack before he comes out, so he thinks I'm calmed down more.
Yeah. And then sometimes we won't go together because I have no desire to have to do that hour and a half drop off earlier. So if it's close, we just take separate cars. And then depending how the game, I'd be like, Ryan, do you want to go home with mom or do you want to drive home with dad? So,
Who does he choose, Lisa?
a lot of times he still chooses dad, but sometimes then I think sometimes he feels bad and he's like, oh, well, I'll go with mom. But with me, it's always like, hey, great game. You did awesome.
Yeah.
It's got to be positive. There's always the good side. So
Wally, I got to say, Wally, I'm in board dad with you, bud. We'd be down there together hanging out away from everybody else.
Yeah.
I agree.
Just let me watch.
Yeah. And I am, I can also agree, maybe not as bad as you, and I don't detail my trips to the mint, but I research every restaurant before I book it. I look at every menu. I do that because if I'm going to go, I want good food. We went to Austin and every night I said, this is where we're going. And we did this and that. And it ended up being a good trip, but I do leave lots of time for other activities.
There's always time built in for a nap, always. But
nice. Okay.
Let me put it to you this way. It was our daughter's birthday. She turned 18 while we were in Boston. So I wanted to make sure I found a very good restaurant by the water, all this stuff. So I researched and checked and reviews. I was ready. I had it booked before we left. She, my lovely wife, wanted to do Barbie with my daughter while they were in Boston. Didn't book anything. No chance they could go to the movie. That's the difference. I would have had it done.
Yeah, but I didn't want to risk. What if we still wanted to do some shopping? Yeah, no, it's all good.
No.
Priority.
Arguments for both sides.
Yeah.
You schedule shopping and then you go to the movie.
He's got a point there. He's got a. I don't want to. He's got a point. All right, I'll give
Bobby, come on now.
I'm sorry. I gotta give him one.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Lisa. Hey, listen. While we got you on, we got to ask you the question: are the Ottawa Senators a playoff team this year?
I was listening to the show beforehand, and I want to say yes. Because I think there's so many pieces in place and everything, but this team has just had such bad luck with injuries, and so I'll join the rest of you, and I'll say yes, but I don't think it's going to be easy for them. So
that's the answer. I like that answer. It's not going to be easy.
Never is.
Yeah.
Those who don't know, Lisa has covered the Ottawa Senators for 25 years, writing for Canadian Press, the Ottawa Sun and the Ottawa Citizen. She also used to do Rogers Television. She used to host the show.
Yep,
just to
remember that.
Yeah. Bobby, this ended before you came along.
Ian Mendes took her job. That's right.
Oh, it all comes back
Mendes.
to Ian again.
Mendes.
Yeah. All right. Well, Lisa, really appreciate you stopping by. I can't say thank you enough, really.
When they ask, I have to say yes anytime that, to tell people a little bit more insight about Brent Wallace.
If they ask again, you say no, unless it's in the Nerd Report.
Oh, well.
This was not in the Nerd Report.
Thanks for coming on, Lisa.
Guys. Have a great day.
Good to see you.
I don't know who I'm yelling at, but somebody's getting written up in HR.
Well, I think when it comes down to it, I had nothing to do with anything. I just show up. I don't know what's happening. I just work here.
I've known Lisa for forever, from back in the days, and very nice of her to come on and give some truth to the real Brent Wallace. Very well done.
I'm a little. Listen, I think I'm very well-oiled machine. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
She's very lucky to have me. Let's just put it that way. She won the lottery.
We'll let you go so you can go plan Christmas.
There's only 42 days left. Yeah. Okay. Boys. I'm not here next Monday, so we'll. You might be hosting the show alone. We'll talk about that later.
Next Monday, I'm ready to host.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I'm ready to host. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Next Monday.
We can bring them
Wally.
the week following. No Wally next Monday.
So
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. This is going to be a ratings bonanza.
Absolutely.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Bob,
It'll be my
Bob, we
first-
got, we
I
got
can't
this.
wait. Absolutely. We'll see
All
if we
right.
need him back the following.
All right, see you, boys. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by, and appreciate it. Thanks to Lisa, too.
Absolutely.
See you guys.
That's coming in hot. Take care, everybody.
Coming in Hot is brought to you by Botano.ca. Please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel to never miss an episode.